What's up, guys? Jacob Ober here. Tonight we're going to be talking about the Milwaukee Brewers and their recent 6-3 loss to Pittsburgh Pirates and why you guys should not be as concerned as people are making it out to be. So, right now as it stands, the Brewers have just lost 3 of 4 on this road trip. They are 1-3 against the Marlins and the Pirates. We lost a Marlins series, 2 of 3, both losses coming on walk-offs. And now we lost the first game of a 5-game stretch against the Pittsburgh Pirates, with Sunday closing it out as a doubleheader heading into the All-Star break. A lot of people are getting very nervous at this point in time because the Brewers are losing to some teams that they probably should beat, and we all know what happened the past few times that the Brewers have actually been pretty good at the All-Star break. Collapse. Let's just pump the brakes here for a second. Let's look at the larger picture for a minute. Let's not jump to conclusions here. The Brewers are still 16 games over 500, and they are still in the lead for the NL Central. Now, of course, that lead has been pretty steady at 1 to 2 games, 1 to 2.5 around that for the better part of the past month. But we're still in the lead, and I mean, even though we probably should be winning these games that we're losing, every single team goes through stretches like this. Every single team. Now, that's not to say that the Brewers don't have some glaring weaknesses and that they shouldn't be really losing these games to begin with, but I mean, it's just something that every team goes through. Even good teams, even teams that win championships, have stretches like this. You cannot possibly tell me that before the season started that the Brewers weren't going to have a stretch like this. It happens to every single team, and people are going crazy. It hasn't happened to the Brewers like this in over a month. We had the stretch in early June where we lost, I think it was 2 of 3 to the White Sox, and then we lost 2 out of 2 against the Indians in Cleveland. We made it out just fine after that. We lost 4 or 5 in that stretch. We were just fine. Look at us now. We are still 16 games over 500. We were pushing 20 just a few days ago. We're going to be fine, you guys. Happens to every single team. Now, that's not to say that the Brewers don't have some glaring weaknesses, though, and that they shouldn't have lost those games that they did. In fact, you could have made a case that the Brewers should have swept the Marlins, and they very well could have. I mean, they lost both games in extra innings on walk-offs. I mean, it was a pretty evenly matched series. It was a tight series, and the Marlins are not a bad offensive club. The Brewers' pitching wasn't that great in that series, and their hitting probably wasn't as good as we wanted it to be. They left a lot of runners on base in certain situations. In fact, in the two walk-off losses, we had chances before the walk-offs to score some runs and put the game away, and we didn't. But I mean, that's just how baseball goes. That's kind of stuff happens in baseball games. You just have to work through it, and the Brewers are going to work through this stretch. I still think that they need to add some pitchers, though, and I think their pitching is starting to fall off compared to when it was really good early in the season. The pitching definitely needs some help, and the offense, when it has its nights like tonight, we still scored 3 runs. We managed 3 runs. We had a little bit of a rally going in the 9th before Aguilar grounded into a double play to end the game. But the pitching, it's got to improve. And I don't think the offense is as bad as people say it is. I think people get too caught up in the bad nights. Every offense is going to have bad nights. So the Brewers have had quite a few more than you'd like to have them, but I still think that the offense is going to be just fine. You'd be nice to add a solid bat like Merrifield, and I mean, even Machado still on the board for the Brewers. In fact, I think the 2 potential suitors are the Dodgers and the Brewers, and I think the Yankees too. So it's between those 3 teams for Machado. You guys already know my opinions on the Machado thing. If it's for the right price, do it, but I'm not a big fan of rentals. I'm not a big fan of giving up high-end prospects for a guy we're going to have for 3 months. But, I mean, if the Brewers see it fit, then absolutely go for it. And he'd definitely help this lineup and make this lineup produce less of the nights like we saw tonight. But the pitching, in my opinion, needs to be the top priority. Without pitching, you don't go far in the playoffs. I mean, it's that simple. There's never really been a team that has had just a really good offense and piss-poor pitching and actually made it pretty far. I mean, the Royals kind of had average pitching the year they won it, but I mean, even then, they still got some pretty clutch performances out of their best pitchers. And I don't know if I see that with this current rotation, and of course, we might get Jimmy Nelson back. It's not looking that good for Nelson right now. We kind of expected him around June, and then it was moved to July, now it's to August. I don't know if we're actually going to get him back. If we get him back in time for the playoffs, that would be amazing, but We'll have to see what happens there. But I mean, I really think we need to go and trade for a real ace, someone who might have a little bit of control. Maybe Noah Syndergaard. I'm hearing that Jacob deGrom is not as available as he once was. The Mets are kind of might be closing the door on that. They think he could be the front man of their rotation for the foreseeable future, and I don't blame him for that. He's a fantastic pitcher, and he deserves to start in the All-Star game. So, anyways, though, that's really my thoughts on it. I mean, guys, just don't overreact to things like this. I mean, baseball is an unpredictable sport. It's hard to predict a day-to-day outcomes. The Brewers are going through a rough patch right now. The bats aren't producing the way we want them to, and the pitching has not been very ideal, and the bullpen's been gassed. I mean, it's one of these stretches, you guys, and we're in the middle of a 21 games in 20 days stretch. So a stretch like this, and remember, the Brewers got back from Miami very, very early in the morning today to Pittsburgh. So, I mean, today almost felt like a scheduled loss. So just pump the brakes and look at the broader picture. The Brewers are still in a very good position right now. Just don't worry, they'll work it all out. So, anyways, guys, thanks for watching. That's all I really have to say. Be sure to leave a like and subscribe, and I'll see you guys next time.